Hi, this is Emily, the Audi nerd, and tonight I have two cars to take a look at. It is the Q5 Sportback, which I have right here in Daytona Gray, and it is the regular Q5 45 S-Line, which I have right here. This one is also in Daytona Gray, so we can make sure we can take a look at them as closely compared as possible. So let's take a look and get into all the nitty-gritty details. So you may be wondering, why would we be looking at the Q5 Sportback and the Q5? They should be completely different models. However, these cars actually share a lot of things in common, but they have subtle price differences and available features, which come standard, and some others are options. So I wanted to make sure we can go over and compare them completely side by side, package for package, price differences, and options that are only available on one versus the other. So the base price starting out on the regular Q5 45 S-Line is $46,995, while the base price of the Q5 Sportback is $51,295. So starting out base to base, they are $4,300 in difference in price. But you may be wondering, do I get any additional packages with that on the Q5 Sportback? You do. A couple of things come standard, which is almost baffling in my mind. The front sport seats with passenger lumbar control and driver lumbar control. Both of those comes completely standard on the Q5 Sportback. It also comes with the panoramic sunroof standard. And you also get the upgraded 19-inch wheels, which you have to go all the way up to a Premium Plus to get that on the regular Q5. One other thing that only comes on the Q5 Sportback, no matter what package or option you select, is the honeycomb SQ5 grille here. While yes, you may be looking and saying, well, they're both honeycomb, what's the actual difference? This one has a much tighter honeycomb, and it's got these little indentations here, which if it was an alu optic car with the silver trim, all these little indentations would be silver. But since it's black optics, it gets the sleek black look for the grille. And again, yes, this is black and honeycomb, but it is definitely not the aggressive S-Sport SQ5 grille. Now moving up to the Premium Plus trim level, if you went to the Premium Plus on the Q5, and if you went to the Premium Plus on the Q5 Sportback, you'd be $2,700 in difference. Again, a couple of things you cannot get on the regular Q5 with just the base Premium Plus would be the front sport seats with the driver and passenger lumbar control, and again, the SQ5 grille. Now moving to Prestige for both of them, that would be the fully loaded top trim level with a couple of other standalone options available. You'd be $2,300 in difference. So when you break it all down, the thing is, the Q5 Sportback costs $2,300 more to get those sleek design, couple more additional features on the exterior, and some other things on the interior. The other really cool part about the Q5 Sportback is it's not just those three trim levels. You get a couple other standalone options that are not available in any way on the regular Q5 45 S-Line. One of those features would be the black optic sport package. What that gives you is something that we'll demonstrate here, where you can go along and see actually the wheels that come on this package. And then if we open the door right here, you can see the aluminum rhombus inlays. This is something we demonstrated on our last video on the Q5 Sportback, but again, just taking another look at it compared to the regular inlays. Another cool thing you get with the black optic sport package is you get the sport suspension. It doesn't, however, give you the air ride suspension, which is on the SQ5, so I don't want to get you confused with the two of those. And it doesn't give you any actual lowering, but it just gives a more stiffer, more aggressive, grounded ride feel. Now, before we move on from the pricing and packaging difference, I want to highlight the regular Q5 is available with a black optics package, so don't think that you can't get black optics on the regular Q5. You just can't get the black optics sport package with the sport suspension, the different inlays, and these specific wheels. So now let's actually move and compare them side by side so we can see the different profiles and how much cargo space they have. Now starting from this angle, you can see the total Q5 Sportback silhouette with the way it aggressively slopes back down in the back with the more aggressive side here, and you can see this lip going all the way across back there. And then for the regular Q5, you can see it's more boxy and square-like and comes all the way across. Very linear, tall lines. Now coming to the back seat of the Q5, I brought an actual tape measure so we can see the actual height differences, with me being 5'5" 3/4", my husband who has adjusted this seat so that it represents what he would be sitting in, and he is a little over 6'1". So let's hop in the back here. So hopping in, immediately you can tell I do have truly plenty of room back here. So now I'm going to measure from the top of my head to the top of the headliner. So if I go like this and then go straight out, so I grab it and I have exactly 6 inches of headroom back here. So now let's do it on the knees. The front of my knee to the front of the seat, and I have exactly 5 inches back here as well. So overall, we know how a Q5 fits, but now let's compare it to the Q5 Sportback. Now let's hop in the Q5 Sportback and see how much of a difference there is in the room. So same drill, it's been adjusted for my husband in the front. So we'll take it all the way out, bring it all the way forward. And I've got, as you can see, just about 5 inches again for legroom, so that's pretty much the same there. So now before I measure my head, one thing to note is that they have sculpted this headliner in here to allow for more space back here. Just make sure you're sitting all the way back to have the most room. So doing that now, let's measure from the back right there. And I'll grab and bring it forward. And I'm at just about 5.5 inches. So only lost about 1/2 inch of space. Definitely not much. It wouldn't be noticeable to the average person. If you were like 7'4", however, I can understand that one. Now back here, we're gonna take a look at 2 things back on the back side of both the Q5 and the Q5 Sportback. First, you notice the different rear diffuser, where this one has more of an aggressive style with these big cutouts and indentations here, and you cannot see where the tailpipes are. And if we come over to the regular Q5, it has more of a plain style back here, and you can see where the tailpipes are. So now, let's take a look in the interior cargo space. We'll start with the Q5. Now looking at the cargo space of the regular Q5 first, we have exactly 37.5 inches. So now let's measure the narrowest part back here, 41.5 inches. So now this is the widest part, 48.5 inches, right there. And now we'll measure with the seats down. Exactly 63 inches. Now, let's measure the height. Give us exactly 33 inches in height. Now, before we move on, I'm going to measure what I call the actual usable height, because imagine there's gonna be glass right here, so it won't be this total height the entire way of the trunk. So I like to measure right from where the headliner changes, 21.5 inches for that height. All right, now we're gonna take a look at the size comparisons and measurements in the Q5 Sportback compared to the Q5. But you're not gonna have to rewind to the video to remember what they are. I will put everything for the regular Q5 on this side, and as we compare for the Q5 Sportback, I'll put them along this side so we can compare them at the end. First of all, starting with total depth, that's 38 inches. Now measuring from the narrow point, we've got 41 inches, the widest point. Got 48.5 inches. The height, I've got 32 inches. Now the seats are fully folded down here, so we're gonna take the measurement to see how the depth is there. We have 63.5 inches. And then as I mentioned before, the real height is something I really like to measure because you can see how much of the space you're actually using, because the rest of this gets covered in glass in the back of the trunk. The Q5 Sportback is the best one that you can tell on this, because you can see this huge slope back right here. All this is going to be glass, so you're not really losing that much compared to the regular Q5, which would just have maybe just a little bit more right here. So let's look at what the real height comparison is on the Q5 Sportback. We've got 21 inches. Now, before we move on, I did bring some props so you can see what actual real-life items look back here. I have a carry-on luggage and my backpack that I use for my camera bag.
The Q5 has 25.8 cubic feet of cargo space with the seats up. The Q5 Sportback has 24.7 cubic feet. That's only 1.1 cubic feet in less volume. And as we saw when measuring the real usable height, you are losing that 1.1 cubic feet of room in a very thin strip along the back glass. In these photos, you can see how one carry-on luggage and standard backpack fit in both the Q5 and the Q5 Sportback in a few different orientations. So in conclusion, yes, the Q5 Sportback is ever so slightly less room in the trunk, but chances are, if you really need that thin strip of room along the back glass, you are also considering a Q7 or Q8. You can truly have it all in the Q5 Sportback: the sporty styling, plenty of room in the back seat, and cargo room.
Thanks for taking a look at the Q5 and the Q5 Sportback with me. I look forward to making a ton more videos for you. Audi's just given us some really cool cars that should be hitting in the next couple of months. I'm really excited to make those for you. Thanks for watching.